Hello everyone and welcome to this session. We'll be taking the first example on Kirchhoff law. Now I have here a circuit with three loops, 1, 2, 3, a dependent current source, an independent current source, a voltage source, and 1, 2, 3 resistors. The question says determine the currents and voltages for each resistor for 1, 2, 3 resistors, and then find the voltage across the 5 ampere, which is this one. So for those kind of questions, we said step 1 we have to name the nodes. So I go ahead and start with node A from this endpoint 1, this second endpoint, and then the third endpoint. So all of this is A, and then B, it starts from here, goes here, and goes here. Then C all the way here, and then finally D from here to those endpoints. Now I go ahead and start with the loops. There's I1, I2, and I3. There's I1, I2, and I3. Okay, step 2 we said we go ahead and name all the voltages and currents on those resistors. So I would go ahead and I would name here VR3, VR2, and then VR1. I put the positive up and the negative down, so I have to put the current going down. So IR1 should be going down, IR2 to the right, IR3 down. It would go I3, I2, and then I1. Okay, so I named all the currents, all the voltages throughout the resistors. Now I have to pick which node I should start with. We said if I'm having a current source, I would rather to do current KCL. If I have a voltage source, I would rather to do KVL. Now let's observe first. I wanna teach you how to start because it's the most important step. Now for this node, I'm looking at an IC 0.5 IC. Okay, 0.5 IC. IC is here, right? At this node. So I have to find IC in order to know this dependent source and then come here and do some work. Why? Because IC is unknown. All of these two unknown, so I can't start at node A. Let's see node B. Node B, the good part about node B, or I would say at node B there's also I2 unknown, I3 unknown, and I have no idea what's the current here. And this goes also for C and D. Okay? And I always said, if you wanna start with a node, you have to know the currents. This current is unknown, so I have to find this unknown first. So let's move to a voltage, to a KVL, which is loops. I have loop 1, loop 2, loop 3. Now when we think about loops, I always would look at the voltage source. We said that. Have your eye on the voltage source. This is an independent voltage source. Where's the loops that has this voltage? Loop 2 and loop 3. Which loop has the minimum unknown, which is loop 3? Loop 3 has only two elements. This is a voltage source and this is a resistor, right? So if the voltage source is known, which is 12 volt, I can find the other voltage source. How? You can do a KVL on loop 3. So I go ahead and do KVL at loop 3. Now I'm gonna have this cut and moved up so you can guys see the solution. How was it done? Okay, now I'm looking at this circuit. I'm looking at this voltage. If I go clockwise, I'm leaving from a positive 12 volts, so positive 12, and then I go around and leave from the negative sign, which is negative VR3. So negative VR3 equals 0. This is an equation with unknown. I move this to the other side because the sign is negative, so I want it to be a positive. Then here we go. We have VR3 equal 12 volt. Okay. Now we're gonna apply an Ohm's law directly. After you find I or V, find the other unknown with Ohm's law. So I have VR3 equal 12 volt, then I3 equal VR3 over 3, right? So 12 over 3 ohm, which is 4 ampere. So I found the current I3, VR3. Now, if you find I3, notice something important. IC is going this way. It's the same as I3. Why? Because they're in series. IC is going through this line, and it's going through this resistor. The same thing as I3. So IC equal I3. If I know IC to have a ampere of 4 ampere, then I can find this dependent source value, which is 0.5 IC, zero point 0.5 times 4 equal 2 ampere. Okay. Now here we started with like now the circuit has some knowns values, so we can continue further on and find the other unknown. I'm asked for all the resistor voltages and currents, and I'm asked for this voltage. We're gonna continue this in the next video, so stay with us.